The barn door creaked open under the weight of Mark's hand, and before I could process the musty scent of hay and old wood, he pulled me inside, his grip firm on my wrist. "Alex, I can't keep this buried anymore," he whispered, his voice cracking like thunder in the quiet space. And then he leaned in, his lips brushing mine in a kiss that tasted of forbidden secrets and years of hidden longing. My world shattered in that instant. My dad's best friend, the man I'd idolized since childhood, had just crossed a line that would unravel everything I knew about family, loyalty, and myself. I stumbled back, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest, the rough wooden wall scraping against my shirt as I tried to steady myself. Mark's eyes, usually steady and reassuring, were now wide with a mix of fear and desperation. He was 42, built like the ranch hand he used to be before becoming a successful contractor in our small Texas town, and I'd always seen him as an uncle figure, until lately, when stolen glances and accidental touches started stirring something unfamiliar in me. "Dad's going to kill us?" I muttered, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand, not out of disgust but out of sheer panic. My father, Tom, was the epitome of traditional American values. Church every Sunday, barbecue cookouts with the neighbors, and a firm belief that a man's life should follow a straight path. Marriage, kids, stability. Mark had been his friend since high school, through thick and thin, including the rough years after my mom left us when I was 10. They'd built this ranch together, turning it from a rundown property into a thriving horse farm. And now this. Mark ran a hand through his salt and pepper hair, his broad shoulders slumping. "I know, Alex. I've fought this for years. Watching you grow up, seeing the man you've become. It hit me like a freight train last summer when you came home from college." I remembered that summer vividly. Long days working the fields, evenings around the fire pit sharing beers and stories. I'd confided in him about my confusion, my failed attempts at dating girls, the nagging feeling that I didn't fit the mold. He'd listened, offered advice, but never let on that his own heart was tangled in the same web. We stood there in silence, the horses nickering softly in their stalls, oblivious to the storm brewing. I was 22, fresh out of UT Austin with a degree in business, back home to help Dad with the ranch while figuring out my next move. Coming out wasn't even on my radar. In our conservative corner of Texas, it meant risking everything. Friends, family, the life I'd built. But Mark's kiss forced the issue, igniting a spark that could either warm me or burn the whole place down. "I have to go," I said finally, pushing past him toward the door. Outside, the late afternoon sun cast long shadows over the fields, mirroring the turmoil inside me. Dad was due back from town any minute, and the thought of facing him with this secret gnawing at me made my stomach churn. That night, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan whirring lazily, I replayed the moment over and over. Was it wrong? Mark was twice my age, my dad's closest ally. Yet, in that kiss, I'd felt seen for the first time, like someone understood the loneliness I'd buried deep. The next morning, breakfast was tense. Dad slammed cabinets, grumbling about feed prices, while Mark avoided my eyes across the table. "You boys all right?" Dad asked, eyeing us suspiciously. I forced a nod, choking down eggs that tasted like sawdust. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a cascade of decisions that would test every bond one held dear. As the days blurred into a week, I couldn't shake Mark from my mind. We'd steal moments in the barn. Not kisses, but conversations laced with tension. He told me about his own struggles. A failed marriage in his 20s, years of denying his attraction to men, the fear of losing Dad's friendship. "I've built my life around this town, Alex. Coming out would mean starting over." His words echoed my fears, but they also kindled a dangerous hope. Maybe we could navigate this together quietly, but secrets have a way of festering. One evening, as I mucked out stalls, Dad cornered me. "Something's off with you and Mark. Spill it." My pulse raced. Lie or confess? I chose the lie, mumbling about college stress. He bought it, but his eyes lingered, planting the first seed of doubt. That night, Mark texted me, "We need to talk. Meet me at the old oak tree." Under the stars, he pulled me close again, his whisper urgent. "I love you, Alex, but if we do this, it'll cost us." I nodded, my resolve hardening. The decision to pursue this felt like jumping off a cliff, exhilarating and terrifying. Little did I realize the fall would drag everyone down with me. The following weeks were a whirlwind of stolen moments and mounting guilt. We'd meet in hidden spots on the ranch, sharing stories of our lives, dreams, and the pain of living in shadows. Mark opened up about his ex-wife, how their marriage crumbled under the weight of his unspoken truth. I shared my college flings with guys, brief and unsatisfying, always ending in self-doubt. Our connection deepened, but so did the risks. One afternoon, while Dad was at a cattle auction, Mark and I argued in the barn. "This can't go on like this," I said, frustration boiling over. "We're lying to everyone." He sighed, pulling me into a hug. "I know, but think about your dad, he's not ready." The embrace lingered, and for a moment, the world felt right. But then the barn door swung open. It was Sarah, Dad's new girlfriend, her eyes wide in shock. She'd come to drop off groceries and stumbled upon us. "What the hell?" she gasped, dropping the bags. Panic surged through me. Sarah was kind, but she was also deeply religious, part of the church crowd that viewed anything outside the norm as sin. We begged her not to tell, but her face hardened. "This is wrong, Alex. Mark. Tom deserves to know." She left in a huff, leaving us in stunned silence. That night, the confrontation came. Dad burst into my room, face red with fury. "Sarah told me everything. Is it true?" The air thickened. I could deny it, preserve the fragile peace. But looking into his eyes, I saw the betrayal already forming. "Yes, Dad, it's true." His fist slammed the wall, cracking the drywall. "Get out. Both of you." The words hit like a gut punch. In one decision, I'd lost my home, my father, and perhaps my future. Mark tried to intervene, but Dad shoved him away. "You've been like a brother to me, and this is how you repay? Seducing my son." The accusation stung, twisting our love into something ugly. We packed our bags that night, driving off into the unknown, the ranch lights fading in the rearview. The motel room smelled of stale smoke and regret, the neon sign outside flickering like a bad omen. Mark and I sat on the sagging bed, the weight of our expulsion pressing down. "What now?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He pulled me close, but the comfort felt hollow. We'd traded our lives for this uncertain freedom, and the cost was already mounting. We'd driven 3 hours north to Austin, the city where I'd gone to college, hoping for a fresh start. But fresh starts don't erase the past. My phone buzzed incessantly with missed calls from Dad, each one a dagger. When I finally answered, his voice was raw. "How could you do this to me, Alex? To our family?" I tried to explain the confusion, the love, but he cut me off. "Love? That's not love. That's perversion. Mark's twisted you." The call ended with him hanging up, leaving me shattered. Mark held me as I sobbed, but his own eyes were haunted. He'd lost his business partner, his best friend, and the only place he'd called home. "We'll figure it out," he murmured, but doubt laced his words. In the days that followed, we scraped together a life. I found a job at a coffee shop near campus, slinging lattes to hipster students who had no idea of the storm I'd fled. Mark picked up freelance contracting gigs, his skills in high demand, but the whispers followed us. Word spread fast in small-town networks. Old clients ghosted him, citing personal reasons. One evening, as we walked through Zilker Park, hand in hand for the first time in public, a sense of liberation washed over me. Austin was more progressive, with rainbow flags waving proudly. But even here, stares lingered, reminders that acceptance wasn't universal. "Do you regret it?" I asked Mark, squeezing his hand. He stopped, turning to face me. Regret loving you? Never. But the hurt we've caused. Yeah, that eats at me. His honesty deepened our bond, but it also highlighted the fractures. That night, in our cramped apartment, we argued for the first time. You pushed me into this? I accused, frustration spilling out. No, Alex, we chose this together, he shot back. The words hung heavy, a prelude to the conflicts ahead. Back home, the fallout rippled. My sister, Emily, called from New York, where she lived as an artist. Dad's a mess, Alex. He's drinking again, talking about selling the ranch. Guilt twisted in my gut. Emily was the only family member who'd suspected my sexuality. She'd encouraged me to live authentically. But now, seeing the destruction, even she wavered. Was it worth it? Destroying everything for a fling? It's not a fling, I insisted. Mark and I are real. But her question planted seeds of doubt. Was our love strong enough to withstand the wreckage? Mark's ex-wife, Linda, resurfaced via email, demanding answers. I always knew Mark, but involving Tom's kid? That's low. Her words stung him deeply, reopening old wounds. He confided in me about their marriage, how he tried to be the perfect husband, suppressing his true self until it broke them both. I hurt her, just like I'm hurting Tom now, he said, tears in his eyes. The pressure built. At work, a coworker overheard me on the phone with Emily and started spreading rumors. Suddenly, shifts got cut, managers grew distant. This town's not as open as it seems, Mark warned. We decided to move again, this time to Denver, where Mark had connections from past jobs. The drive was silent, each mile a reminder of what we'd sacrificed. In Denver, things improved marginally. Mark landed a steady contract with a construction firm, and I enrolled in online courses for an MBA, dreaming of stability. Our relationship blossomed in the anonymity of the city. Dinners out, hikes in the Rockies, moments of pure joy, but the shadows lingered. One day, a letter arrived from Dad. I need time, but you're still my son. Hope flickered, but it was short-lived. Emily followed up. He's seeing a therapist, but the church group is influencing him. They say it's a phase, that Mark manipulated you. Rage boiled in me. Manipulated? Our love was mutual, born from years of unspoken connection. But the narrative twisted in our absence, painting Mark as the villain. I confronted him that night. Do they think you're some predator? He nodded grimly. In their eyes, yes. The age difference doesn't help. The argument escalated. Maybe we should end this, I said, the words tasting bitter. Mark's face crumpled. Is that what you want? No, it wasn't. But the constant battle wore us down. We reconciled in tears, vowing to fight on. Yet betrayal loomed. An old friend from the ranch, Jake, reached out to Mark for work advice. During their call, Jake let slip that Dad was spreading stories, calling Mark a homewrecker, warning others. Mark hung up, devastated. Tom's turning everyone against me. The decision came swiftly. We have to go back, I said. Confront this head-on. Mark agreed, though fear etched his features. The drive home was a tension-filled odyssey, each landmark a ghost of our past. Arriving at the ranch, the place looked unchanged, but the air crackled with hostility. Dad met us at the door, shotgun in hand. Not aimed, but a clear message. What do you want? He growled. To talk, I pleaded. The conversation that followed was brutal. Accusations flew. Betrayal, immorality, family destruction. Dad admitted his pain. You were my pride, Alex. Now you're this. Mark defended us, but Dad's words cut deep. You stole my son. As tempers flared, Sarah intervened, her voice calm but firm. Tom, they're in love. Can't you see that? Her unexpected support stunned us. Turns out, she'd been reflecting, talking to her own gay nephew. But Dad wasn't swayed. Love doesn't excuse the lies. We left without resolution. the door slamming behind us. Back in Denver, the encounter haunted us. Mark grew distant, buried in work. I threw myself into studies, but the rift widened. One night, over dinner, Mark dropped the bomb. "I think we need space." My heart sank. Was this the price? The love we'd fought for crumbling under pressure? The apartment felt empty without Mark's presence. His side of the bed cold and untouched. He'd moved to a friend's couch, insisting it was temporary, a chance to breathe amid the chaos. But as days turned to weeks, doubt crept in. Had our love been a mirage, built on rebellion rather than foundation? The separation forced me to confront my choices, the lives I'd upended for a feeling that now seemed fleeting. Work became my refuge. At the coffee shop, I befriended Carlos, a barista with a warm smile and stories of his own coming-out journey in a strict Latino family. "It gets better, man," he said one shift, handing me a latte. His encouragement sparked something. Maybe I could rebuild independently. But nights alone brought waves of regret. I call Emily, venting about the mess. "Dad's softening," she'd say. "He misses you." "Misses me?" The thought tugged at my heartstrings. I debated returning alone, leaving Mark behind to mend fences. But that felt like betrayal, abandoning the man who'd risked everything for me. Mark and I met sporadically, coffee dates laced with awkwardness. "I miss you," he'd admit, his hand brushing mine. "But the guilt, it's eating me alive." He confessed to therapy sessions, unpacking decades of repression. "I love you, Alex, but I need to love myself first." His words resonated, mirroring my own internal battle. In therapy of my own, I explored the maze of identity, family expectations, and societal norms. "You're not broken," my counselor said, "but healing takes time." The sessions unearthed buried pain, Mom's abandonment, Dad's rigid worldview shaping my self-doubt. Meanwhile, society weighed in uninvited. A news article about a local gay couple facing discrimination hit home, reminding me of the broader fight. In Denver's LGBTQ community center, I volunteered, finding solace in shared stories. One man, in his 50s, spoke of losing his family for love, only to reconcile years later. "Patience is key," he advised. Inspired, I wrote Dad a letter, pouring out my truth without blame. "I'm gay, Dad. Mark didn't make me this way. It's who I am. I hope one day you can accept that." Weeks passed without response, amplifying my isolation. Mark's distance grew. Rumors reached me. He'd been seen with an old flame, a man from his past. Jealousy flared, leading to a heated confrontation at his temporary place. "Is there someone else?" I demanded. He denied it, but his eyes evaded. "It's not that. I just can't keep hurting people." The argument peaked with me storming out, slamming the door on our future. That night, I drowned sorrows at a bar, where Carlos found me. "You're better than this," he said, driving me home. His kindness blurred lines. In a moment of weakness, I kissed him. Regret hit instantly. "I'm sorry," I mumbled, fleeing. The betrayal weighed heavy. I confessed to Mark the next day, expecting fury. Instead, sadness filled his eyes. "We're both lost, Alex." We decided on a clean break, the decision ripping me apart. Love, it seemed, demanded sacrifices I wasn't prepared for. Back to square one, I focused on self-growth. Job promotion came, affording a better apartment. Emily visited, bridging the family gap. "Dad read your letter. He's thinking." Hope flickered anew, but fate intervened. A call from the hospital. Dad had a heart attack. Panic surged as I flew home. Mark's number dialed instinctively. "I'm coming too," he said, despite everything. At the hospital, tension crackled. Dad lay pale, machines beeping. Seeing us together, his eyes narrowed. "Why's he here?" Sarah squeezed his hand. "Because he cares, Tom." The vigil stretched hours. In the waiting room, Mark and I talked honestly. "I still love you," he admitted. "But we rushed in. ignoring the fallout. I nodded, the break revealing our flaws. Dad recovered slowly, his brush with mortality shifting perspectives. In a quiet moment, he grasped my hand. I don't understand it, son, but I don't want to lose you. Tears flowed, a tentative bridge. Mark stayed distant, respecting boundaries. But as Dad healed, old wounds reopened. Church friends visited, whispering judgments. That lifestyle's dangerous, one said. Dad wavered, pulling back. Frustrated, I confronted him. Accept me fully or not at all. The ultimatum hung, forcing a choice. He chose family, albeit grudgingly. I'll try, he promised. With Dad's fragile acceptance, Mark and I reconnected cautiously. Dates turned to deep conversations, rebuilding on stronger ground. But society pushed back. At a family barbecue, neighbors stared, murmurs spreading. One confronted Mark. You're corrupting the youth. The accusation ignited Dad's defense. Mind your business, he barked, surprising us all. His stand marked a turning point, but not without cost. Lost friends, strained community ties. As summer faded, our relationship stabilized. Yet internal conflicts lingered. Was this happiness worth the pain inflicted? The question haunted quiet moments. One evening, walking the ranch trails, Mark proposed a future together. Away from Texas, perhaps California. A new life, he said. Excitement mixed with fear. Leaving meant final severance from roots. The decision loomed, a crossroads of love versus legacy. California beckoned with promises of ocean breezes and open arms. But the move felt like another betrayal. Dad's health had stabilized, our relationship mending thread by thread. Yet Mark's suggestions stirred the pot. We can't thrive here, he argued, pointing to the lingering stares and whispers in town. I agreed, but the thought of abandoning Dad again twisted my gut. We debated for weeks, pros and cons laid bare. Pros: freedom, community support, career opportunities. Cons: family distance, uprooting lives once more. Dad sensed the shift during a visit. You're leaving. His voice cracked, eyes pleading. Not forever, I assured, but the lie tasted sour. The conversation devolved into accusations. You choose him over me every time. Hurt flashed in his eyes, echoing the initial expulsion. Sarah mediated, her evolution remarkable. Tom, Alex deserves happiness. But Dad's pride held firm. Happiness at what cost? The standoff ended with him storming off, leaving me torn. Mark pressed on, securing a job in San Francisco's booming construction scene. This could be our chance. His optimism clashed with my hesitation. In a moment of doubt, I confided in Carlos via text. Our friendship had endured. Follow your heart, he advised. The packing began, each box a symbol of departure. Emily flew in to help, her support unwavering. Dad'll come around. But as moving day neared, tension peaked. A surprise visit from Jake, the old ranch friend, brought unexpected alliance. I get it now, he said, sharing his own hidden struggles. Don't let fear win. His words bolstered me, but also highlighted the isolation many faced. Departure day dawned crisp. Dad showed at the truck, face stoic. Safe travels. No hug, but a nod, progress, albeit minimal. The drive west was reflective, Mark's hand in mine an anchor. San Francisco enveloped us in vibrancy. Pride flags everywhere, diverse crowds pulsing with energy. Our apartment overlooked the bay, a far cry from Texas dust. Mark thrived at work. I landed a marketing role at a tech startup. Life normalized, but homesickness gnawed. Calls with Dad grew sporadic, laced with awkwardness. How's he? He'd ask about Mark, progress in itself. But underlying resentment simmered. Society's acceptance here was a double-edged sword. While liberating, it amplified past traumas. At a support group, I shared our story, finding catharsis in collective nods. The price of authenticity is high, one member said. Mark proposed officially one sunset on the Golden Gate Bridge, ring in hand. Joy surged, but so did doubts. Are we ready? He nodded. We've earned this. Wedding planning brought family into focus. Inviting Dad was risky. Emily pushed. Give him a chance. The invitation sent, response awaited. Dad's call came weeks later. I'll come, but alone. Sarah stayed behind, her choice respecting his pace. The wedding was intimate. Friends, colleagues, a celebration of resilience. Dad's presence was stiff, but during vows, tears glistened. At the reception, he pulled me aside. I'm proud, son. It took time, but I see your happiness. The moment healed fractures, though scars remained. Post-honeymoon, life settled, but betrayal struck from an unlikely source. Linda, Mark's ex, resurfaced with a lawsuit, claiming emotional distress from his deception. The case dredged up past, media snippets labeling us scandalously. The trial was grueling, testimonies ripping open wounds. Dad testified in our favor, a shocking twist. Mark's a good man. He deserves peace. His support swayed the judge, case dismissed. Victory bittersweet, as media exposure outed us nationwide. Old Texas friends distanced, but new bonds formed. In quiet reflection, I pondered the journey's toll. Love won, but at what price? Families mended, yet forever altered. The media frenzy faded, but its echoes lingered like ghosts in our San Francisco home. Mark and I navigated the aftermath, our marriage tested by public scrutiny. Was it worth it? I asked one night, staring at the city lights. He squeezed my hand. Every scar. Dad's visit months later marked reconciliation's peak. Touring the city, he marveled at our life. Different world here. Over dinner, he opened up. I was scared, Alex. Losing you to something I didn't understand. His vulnerability bridged remaining gaps. But society wasn't done. At work, a colleague's promotion passed me over. Whispers of distraction from the lawsuit. Discrimination suit followed. Another battle. Mark supported, but stress strained us. Therapy helped, unpacking layers. You've both paid dearly, our counselor noted. Indeed, the expulsions, separations, legal fights. Each decision exacted a toll. A call from Emily brought joy. She was engaged, inviting us home for the wedding. Returning to Texas felt surreal, the ranch welcoming yet charged. Reunions were emotional. Dad hugged Mark awkwardly. Sorry for everything. The gesture healed, but old tensions surfaced at the rehearsal dinner. A relative's snide remark, "Still with the old man?" ignited Mark's retort. Dad intervened, defending us fiercely. The wedding was beautiful, our family united. But post-event, Dad confided health woes, heart issues recurring. Guilt resurfaced. Had our drama contributed? We extended our stay, helping on the ranch. Moments with Dad rebuilt bonds, sharing stories under stars. Mark fit in seamlessly, old friendships mending. Yet a crisis hit. Sarah left Dad, citing irreconcilable differences. His evolution clashed with her faith. Alone, Dad spiraled. I changed for you and lost her. The revelation crushed me. Our love's ripple effects continued. Mark and I debated returning permanently. We owe him, Mark said. The choice was wrenching. San Francisco offered freedom. Texas, family. We chose compromise, a bicoastal life, splitting time. In Texas, community acceptance grew slowly. We volunteered at local LGBTQ events, fostering change. One youth's story mirrored mine, inspiring hope. But personal costs mounted. Mark's health declined, stress-induced hypertension. The fights took years off me, he joked darkly. Reflection deepened. Each decision, the kiss, the confession, the moves, cascaded into transformations. Awakening came at expense. As years passed, our story became a beacon for others. A book deal offered, chronicling the journey. Writing unearthed truths. Love demands courage, but also accountability for pain caused. In the end, fulfillment reigned, but shadowed by what-ifs. The book tour wrapped in New York, crowds applauding our resilience. Mark and I stood on stage, hands linked, symbols of hard-won love. But backstage, exhaustion hit. "We've paid enough," Mark whispered. Indeed, the narrative of triumph masked the bruises. Fractured families, lost friendships, internal scars. Back in Texas for holidays, Dad's ranch bustled with life. He'd remarried a supportive woman, embracing change fully. "You taught me, son." His words warmed, but reminded of the path's toll. Emily's kids called us uncles, normalizing our place. Yet, occasional slurs from town folk stung, reminders of unfinished battles. Mark's retirement loomed, our life slowing. Hikes, travels, quiet evenings, rewards for endurance. But health scares persisted, echoes of stress. In reflection, I pondered the ethics. Had we been selfish, prioritizing passion over peace? Or brave, challenging norms for authenticity? Society evolved around us. Laws changed, attitudes shifted. Our story contributed, but at personal expense. One evening, watching sunset over the fields, Mark asked, "Would you do it again?" I paused. "Yes, but wiser." The journey taught, love isn't just emotion, but choices with consequences. We awoke others, but bore the wounds. As stars emerged, peace settled. The barn, site of our beginning, stood silent, a monument to transformation. In the end, was the pursuit of forbidden love a righteous rebellion against societal chains, or a reckless upheaval that inflicted unnecessary suffering on those we claimed to cherish?